Memories are funny, aren't they? Just a quick show of my notes here. About that much of my page where my fingers are. That's the dub notes. And then like practically an entire page of frickin' notes for the sub. Go figure. Now, the last time I watched these episodes, what I unintentionally considered the Ghost Kaiba arc for incredibly obvious reasons, given how the nature of how this one ends. By the way, this in the dub, it's kind of made clear that this is essentially a three-parter. Doesn't really feel like that because the first part is just so. Well, it's more relevant in the sub, but we'll get into that more. I did have a whole lot of stuff to talk about in this sub portion, so the sub is basically what basically made it be like, yeah, we're not going to talk about these in one, we'll talk about these in, like, at most two, depending on how much I get to talk about with each part of the actual Ghost Kaiba Duel. So, let's jump right in, shall we? First thing we see is Mokuba doing the whole cliche, like tying sheets together so that you can make a rope to go down. He's lucky he had enough sheet to actually, get to where he would just be a little bit bruised on his way down. And it wasn't even that well tied. Well, the last one wasn't even well tied. Hey, it actually comes undone on him, like right at the beginning of the episode, and it's like, okay, yeah, you got extremely lucky there, Mokuba. Yeah. But of course, that was him escaping a velvet prison. Now, this is a concept that if you follow Lore Runner, you might be familiar with. A velvet prison is a prison that your captors try to make it as comfortable as possible. And I just realized my TV is on. I should probably turn it off. Sorry. But anyways, a velvet prison is essentially a prison where the captors want to make you as comfortable as possible. The problem is that it's still a prison. You're still a prisoner. And so, of course, Mokuba's trying to get... It escapes from it. Which leads to, of course, Pegasus mentioning in the sub that this is going to be why he's going to be in a dungeon the next time we see him. All because he just couldn't quell his hate boner for Yugi, could he? I mean, I get his reasoning, like stop Yugi from having to face Pegasus, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it was more just, Yugi couldn't get through the tournament, so therefore, like, I have a funny feeling that corporate loopholes would become a thing and would make it so that Mokuba's efforts would be fruitless. And yeah, Pegasus does need to be beaten because, well, he's kind of trying to take over a freaking corporation and hand it over to douchebags. I'd just like to remind you that one of the Big Five, as they're called, old in the Japanese version, is It is a literal fucking super creepy pedophile. No, seriously. That's why Crump was so fucking creepy in Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridged. They were mocking his Japanese version. Just all of the ew with that. But of course, that's way down the line. We're only like, a fourth of the way through the season right now, of season 1. We've got this, and then we've got season 2 to go through. Now, in the Japanese version, we see the two portraits. I'm kind of upset that they didn't show those portraits in the dub. It's one of those things that kind of gives ammo to the whole Pegasus is more evil in the dub thing. No, I just think that he's characterized better in the more of what he is in the dub, because I feel like there's more nuance instead of the inconsistency. I don't know what to really say about that. Also, the censorship continues. Wine. And he's drinking wine in the Japanese version, and the finest fruit juice in the dub. Funny enough, we will actually get a uncensored drink that Pegasus is drinking, but we have to wait for Pyramid of Light for that. The less I say about Pyramid of Light right now, the better. So then he's informed that Pegasus, he's also reading comics, like you do. Specifically comic strips. It's basically like my note literally calls them the funny books, because that's what they are. Imagine if there were comic books, like actual like books like this that were Looney Tunes comics. That's essentially what he's reading. So then we find out that 12, in the Japanese version, it's mentioned that 12 of the 40 participants have been defeated 6 hours in. And of course, in both versions, he learns that Yugi has 5 star chips, and that Mokuba will go to him. And there's my note about the dungeon for the slight. So then we see Chemo, as he's called in the dub. Yeah. Anyway, so we see Chemo, and he's basically bullying this kid, because he lost his star chips. And he doesn't get... This is where we find out that Pegasus' goons, in both languages, are all fucking assholes. Yeah, Pegasus isn't a villain, my aching ass. Okay? He's at bare minimum a frickin' villain in this arc. Okay? I'm sorry. Even if you yourself aren't that much of a douchebag, if you're gonna treat people like douchebags through your people, and you're not going to, blast them with shadow magic to punish them for that, then no, you're a villain. Villains piss off. Admittedly, it's not as bad as with Merrick. Oh, you lost. Die! We'll get there. So then Yugi manages to lure Mokuba out. Mokuba sucks at dueling, which makes me wonder why the hell Kaiba leaves him in charge in the Japanese version. What did you think that was going to accomplish, Shadow? What did you think that was going to accomplish? Seriously? I'm sorry. I mean, I don't have a hate boner for Mokuba like a lot of people, but... how did you think the Big Five were going to react to that? So Yuki duels him, accepting the challenge mostly just to see if he's right. I think that's personally a waste of time, because really what should have happened is his gut punch, which face in the dirt, take the star chips and go get it to the kid. Because seriously, no. Knock him out, get the stolen stuff back. I know they try to teach him that, stealing was the wrong call, and and the heart of the cards will never be on your side if you steal, which is funny, because you want to know how often they talk about heart of the cards in the dub of this episode? Once. just once or twice in the dub they mention Heart of the Cards. I actually was looking, and it actually was like, what? They mention it like they literally say in the Crunchyroll subtitles, Heart of the Cards, word for word, like 7 times in this episode. Gee, I wonder where the dub got it from, huh? You know? Oh my god. Like, I know it's, as I stated back in episode 1, I know that it's a different form, but still, it's just funny to me that they actually say the phrase "Heart of the Cards" so many goddamn times. Names in the sub. It's ridiculous. That actually threw me for a loop a little bit in the sub of episode 1, but I felt like they were just trying to establish it as a theme. I didn't think there was literally going to be an episode where they said it in the sub like 10 times, or however many it actually was. It's like, oh my god. Repetition. God. Good narrative pattern. Paradise in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Bad narrative pattern. Heart of the Cards in the subtitled version of Yu-Gi-Oh! God. So then Mokuba has a flashback of Kaiba being basically doubting his power because he's searching for himself, basically. And then he goes on a soul search, which causes issues. I mean, granted that this is the Gallop anime's version of, well, again, what happened in the manga and in Season 0. You know, the shattered heart that allowed the Big Five to, pull their corporate shenanigans. Which is funny because Pegasus is the one that initiates said corporate shenanigans in the sub, and it's the Big Five that initiate it in the dub. Weird dichotomy in that regard. Also, important documents versus a Kaiba Corp family member having, needing a living relative. Can I just say that this is the first, and if I'm remembering the stuff with Ghost Kaiba correctly from the sub, not the last time that this will come up, where there is literally a plot hole that the sub presents that the dub plugs. Yeah. As I said, I forget which episode I said it in, but I said that was going to come up a few times with this dub, and yeah, this is the first major one, because, they talk about they need that key card that Seto handed Mokuba, and, see, there's a giant gaping plot hole here. Now, I know it hasn't been established. The mind scan that the Millennium Eye can do isn't established. But when you find out that the Millennium Eye can allow you to read another's mind, which is usually one of those big things, which is the Millennium Eye's unique power. By the way, that's established in the dub, so sorry. Alright, the dub's already spoiling. I actually mentioned that in episode 2. I just didn't talk about the spoiler because I didn't actually want to spoil people. But anyways, the point is we know from future knowledge, admittedly, that that Pegasus can just mind scan and read minds. So why can't he scan Mokuba's mind to get the location of the card key? Now, he says in the sub that he wants to make Mokuba want to give him, but Okay, based upon everything I know about your motives, Pegasus, this makes zero sense. And I get it, he's trying not to be a villain, but it's like the mind scan is harmless. It has no lasting repercussions. The only thing your Millennium Eye does that is going to do any damage is the sucking out of a soul. So, WTF. Yeah. Jesus. Just double checking my notes here. Oh, I guess I should talk about that part. So, yeah, because here's the thing. I like the idea that they need a living heir because that also explains why Pegasus would hang on to it. If he was forced to take the next step, yep, and just when he finds the key card, take Mokuba's soul. Well, then he can just kind of have it as a puppet, and therefore you have, well, effectively a puppet king. It's just a puppet CEO in this case. Let's just leave real life Let's just leave real life at the door, please. No reason to get into that. I just realized that, but you get my point. Like Duras in Star Trek. There you go. Let's use fictional examples. So they try to get the starships back after Mokuba is convinced. Hence, Kimura sent the boat off because, like I said, villains. And then, and just to prove that how not villainous Pegasus and his people are, smack, starships go into the ocean. Even the Japanese version is kind of punching the idea that Pegasus isn't a villain in the crotch. And I'm sorry, even looking at this with hindsight is actually screwing this over, not amplifying it. Actually, hindsight will do the same to Merrick while we're on the subject. In a very Loxus way, for those that get the reference. But I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. Anyways, point is, yeah, he's in the Japanese version. He says to meet him back at Arena 146 in 1 hour, and in the dub, it's in 4 hours. 4 kids not understanding time. Joke about 4 kids not understanding time. We're walking. So then, in Kaiba, as he's prepping the prototype for the dual discs, gets stormed in on by 2 goons with guns. Guns that get censored in the dub, and that's where this is the first instance of the infamous finger guns. Instead of pointing guns at Kaiba, they're just pointing at him. So, instead of I'm even doing it to the side, instead of like this, well, I guess it would be like this, they're doing this. I just I've got no defense for that. I'm not gonna sit here and defend that. That's like the one thing that I just can't. I mean, even a Disney cartoon got away with having actual no really guns, and for the record, guns that fired bullets too, in the hands of one of the heroes, no less. Then again, the 90s actually were a time when children's cartoons and, well, shows in general had actual fucking balls, but what do I know? I stopped watching TV like 6 years ago, so whatever. So then Kaiba deflects. Apparently, Kaiba's briefcase is bulletproof because he actually gets shot at once, and he deflects the bullet with his briefcase. What? Like, just what? Okay. I mean, only the finest for Seto Kaiba, I guess. I don't know. That just seemed weird. Like, I could accept it able to absorb the bullet, but it full on deflects the bullet. Like, the animation literally makes it clear that the bullet bounces off, and I'm like, okay then. No wonder that dude in the manga started bleeding after Kaiba smacked him with it. Jesus. Ugh. I wonder if that means Kaiba works out. I mean, he would probably have to, because I have to imagine that thing is not super lightweight. Even if it can frickin' deflect bullets. I don't know. Feel free to correct me. Anybody who knows metals better than me. Also, you forgot your deck, Kaiba. But, oh, yeah, I guess you wrote the spoilers. You read the spoilers, so you had to leave it for Ghost Kaiba. Yeah, this is another plot hole, by the way, for me. The two plot holes in this thing are... Well, okay, the dub also has this plot hole too, but the sub is guilty of both of them, of causing both of them. There's the thing I already mentioned with the card, you know, the warehouse with the sensitive documents, and right here with leaving his deck behind. Again, like I said, the lack of connection with Blue Eyes is actually kind of bugging me because, again, he's so anal about Blue Eyes later on that it's just seeing him just so callously leave Blue Eyes behind is kind of jarring, in my opinion. It is literally just a rare card in these earlier episodes. Wonder when that actually started being a thing. I mean, but that's all I got. I did prefer this one in the sub, despite the plot hole things. It's mostly the performances this time. Like, I haven't been commenting on it, but Tristan in the dub is kind of not very good. I forget exactly which episode they switch him off to being a different voice actor, to Yusei's voice actor specifically. But I will make a note of that when it happens. So yeah, next is Ghost Kaiba. Generic dialogue in the Japanese and puns in the English. Yeah, if I had to pick a cliffhanger, I'd pick the "you don't stand a ghost of a chance" pun. But again, overall, this is an example of it being like very close, but I will give it to the sub because the sub just has more intrigue with a lot of the backstory stuff. So, yeah. Not to mention the performances are just... Also, the dialogue in the dub is kind of crappy also. We'll see how that shakes up next time, though, with Ghost Kaiba. That'll be interesting. Yeah. We'll have to get into some stuff with the manga next time, believe it or not. And yeah, we'll see, because I remember preferring this in the dub. But that's also because I actually like the idea of a computer actually having some sass. But we'll get into that. Until then, though, this has been Blue Wolf Alex the Low Rockers signing out. Have a good one. Duel, stand by. I remembered it properly this time. Might not let that go for a couple of episodes.